welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hey sis, my name is Marie. On this channel, we talk about lifestyle, we talk about travel, we talk about fashion, we talk about shopping, we talk about all the things, but we also talk about managing our corporate 9-to-5 jobs, talk about juggling, managing, and getting promoted, because that's a big area of our lives too. So if this is your judge, if this is something that interests you, I want you to keep watching, because today we're talking about corporate soft skills. I know you may be wondering, well, Marie, what do you mean by soft skills? Soft skills are those things that you learn that are comprehensible and that makes you more approachable, that makes you more engaging, that helps you be a better communicator. So we're going to talk about 3 points today of how you can develop and what soft skills you should focus on. So let's get into it. And before I forget this, I know you're going to be like, how do you know, Marie? Like, why should I listen to you? I'm glad you asked. Hopefully you've already seen a few of the Corporate Baddie Chronicles, but if you haven't, let me reintroduce myself. My name is, okay, I'm not gonna go there. All right, let's get back to it. But I have been in the corporate world for 25 years. I am a VP in data and technology. So I think I know a little something about these Corporate Baddie Chronicles. All right, let's get into point 1. So when you are developing your soft skills, the first thing that I want you to really work on is building relationships through non-work conversations. And I want to challenge you not just to do this with your peers. I want you to do this with your boss. I even want you to do this with your boss's boss. Hear me out. One of the things that helps me communicate better, helps me prepare work that I need to prepare, whether it's for my boss or a manager up, is really understanding who they are. Understanding what their style is, but understanding what makes them tick, understanding what makes them happy, understanding them. And I think you do that through personal conversation. I just recently have a new one-up manager, and I set up some time and I was like, hey, before we get into kind of all of the work, one thing that makes me, communicate better is understanding who I work with. So share as little or as much as you want. And we started talking, and you'd be surprised how much you have in common with people. I mean, we had a lot of things in common, but I also learned some of the things that how she works, some of the things that how she navigates through that conversation. So it's just helpful. So I want to challenge you to have those non-work conversations, not just with your peers, with your manager, and also with your manager's manager. So that is point number 1. Let's move into point number 2. All right, sis. So point number 2, and this can be a hard one depending on what setting you're in, but emotional intelligence. Let me give you the perspective of emotional intelligence from this side is really making sure that you're tailoring how you respond. You're tailoring how you react. Making sure that if you had a bad day yesterday, it's not coming into your work life today. If you and your spouse got into it last night, that is not coming in your work life today. But also making sure that because maybe you have a difference in opinion, a difference in personality, a difference in how you may be with a person, that does not flow over or does not seep into the professional environment. So having emotional intelligence is not only being able to recognize how you should handle things in an emotional, tactful way, it's also having self-discipline and control within your own emotions and making sure that you're operating in a way that's conducive to your environment. So it's okay not to have the same personality with someone. It is okay not to have the same perspective. I think I say this in all of my videos, but I always go by the rule of making sure that it's respectful when you communicate. So always keep that at the top of your list. I always say respect is not earned. Don't argue with me on this. I'm going to explain. Respect is not earned, it is given. Trust is earned. I am not going to disrespect you or not give you respect because I don't know you. Everyone starts off a clean slate of respect. Trust is a different thing. That takes time, that takes energy, that takes cultivating, that takes nurture. So I want you to think about it from that perspective, sis. So emotional intelligence, in the discipline to have emotional intelligence in how you read a room, how you react in a room, is also going to help your soft skills so that you're not reacting negatively or on the spot to everything. I think we've all been there. We've all had our moments, but I want us to make sure that we pause. Now, let me just insert a little clip right here. I've been reading a devotion about pausing and about not carrying things you can't control. And sometimes we feel like we always have to be on. We always have to respond. We have to get it out. We have to do faster, sooner, better. I think that there is opportunity in the pause. That devotion has been giving me life, and the scriptures tied to that has been giving me life. And it has actually helped me in my corporate job as well. So I want you to think about that. Think about the pause and the emotional intelligence when you're developing your soft skills. All right, sis, let's move on to the final point, number 3. The final point number 3, is being able to be adaptable, being able to be flexible, and being able to pivot. So we all know, if you've been in corporate for a while, you know that things will always shift. Things will always change, especially now in this boom of AI, how things are shifting and changing faster. You have to be flexible and adaptable. Things are not always going to play out the way they used to. Things are going to become uncertain. Things are going to become new. Things are going to become unfamiliar. And we have to be able to shift. How do you embrace that shift? Through education, you learn. Through hands-on training, get with your peers who know more than you, and you ask. You take on those projects that you're probably not that comfortable with. But what I want to make sure you do, sis, when you take on those projects that you're not comfortable with, that you have the time to dedicate to it. You never want to take on something and deliver in mediocrity. You want to take it on and deliver with excellence, right? So when you think about, well, how can I remain flexible? How can I remain adaptable? How can I remain fungible? Is that you can make sure that you have an open mind. Things are always going to look different. Things are going to change. Things are not always going to be certain. People will change around you. So you have to be adaptable. And that goes back to those other soft skills that play into this last one. Having those non-work and personal conversations help that flexibility in how you need to move. Being able to have emotional intelligence and discipline within yourself helps you able to pivot and be able to work with a wide array of people that have different walks of life. And then also, finally, being able to be adaptable helps you be placed in different spaces that your skill set can really shine. Now, I want to make sure that I call out adaptability is not being a brown noser. It is not just being likable. You can have your values. You can have the things that you stand on, but also be flexible in the approach. It's not about the target, right? The target may remain the same, but flexible in the approach and how you pivot to get there. There's different approaches to it. You should never just be the smartest person in the room, and you should always be collaborative. All of those things help you adapt well and become flexible. All right, sis, I hope you enjoyed this Corporate Baddie Chronicles, this little tidbit. If this is something that you're interested in, I hope you know that I have a YouTube and I have a TikTok. I also have an Instagram. I gotta get better. Because your girl working 9 to 5. I'm trying to keep up. We're going to talk about that as well. It's a struggle. Trying to film, trying to edit, trying to work. I'm tired. But sis, I hope you enjoyed this series of Corporate Baddie Chronicles. Don't forget to follow your sis across all platforms, and we will be back with another session later. All right, sis, bye.